Hey y'all, it's Meg Casebolt, and it has been a couple of weeks since I finished my month of releasing YouTube videos every day as part of my SEOctober campaign. So I'm back with you here today, trying to get back into the swing of recording these weekly videos instead of batching 20 videos in a day. God, that was crazy pants. So today I'm going to take you behind the scenes of how things went with SEOctober and what happened to my YouTube channel when I posted 30 videos in 30 days, and how we cross-posted them to Instagram, and how those two platforms behaved very differently, and whether people bought from me at the end when I offered them a paid option to work together. I'm going to peel back the curtain for you to talk about how this was different from the way that I did this event in previous years, and why, what worked, what didn't work, how every platform functioned a little bit differently, and if I should choose to do this again, what I would choose to do differently. So I'll be back with all those details right after this. Hi there, I'm Meg Casebolt, the founder of Love It First Search, where we help online entrepreneurs to show up in search results and then turn those new readers into leads, subscribers, and sales. Today, I'm giving you a peek behind the scenes of what I did in October, which was that I released one new video about SEO every day. This is a marketing campaign that I've been running for the past 3 years called SEOctober, where every day I release one 5 to 7, sometimes 10 when I can't stop talking, minute video of myself explaining the foundational things that you need to know about SEO in order to optimize one page on your site. In general, learning SEO is really overwhelming, so I try my best to break it into bite-sized pieces that people can either walk with me day by day or binge it all at once. Now, when I first came up with this idea in 2019, I made it an exclusively private event for people who are only on my email list. I shared it as a way of list building to get more people to join my email list, and many of my friends were also sharing it because it's such a different format from what most people do for their launches. And when I created the event, I put all of those videos and transcripts into my course delivery platform, which is called MemberVault. And the great thing about MemberVault, and I should do a whole nother video about MemberVault one of these days, so if you see a card pop up here, it's about MemberVault. The great thing about MemberVault is that it has really cool gamification features. And so I was able to automatically unlock different bonuses and prizes for people as they were moving through the training. And so it was this really fun challenge. It was like a King's Quest game where people were moving through all of it together, and they were able to unlock these bonuses. And I had a free private Facebook group where I was able to give people feedback on the homework, and it worked out really well for me in 2019, structured like that. I had about 400 people join from my existing email list, and I had about 600 new people join who didn't know me at all. Many of them were active in the Facebook group and ended up becoming students in my Attract and Activate program at the end of that month. The first 2 times that I ran SEOctober, it was in a really kind of tight container. I started releasing videos on October 1st, I stopped releasing them on October 31st, and people had until November 15th to watch all the videos. And if people hadn't watched them by November 15th, they either had the choice to pay $25 for lifetime access, or they lost it. I just unpublished the product, they no longer had access to it. So what I saw when I looked at my MemberVault analytics is that there was a big surge of people who were interested in it in the beginning, and then kind of a dip over the middle of the month, and then near the end of the month, coming up to November, I started to see a surge again, this big spike of people. And the first year I even said the bonuses expire on October 31st, and I could actually see people finishing the course on a Friday night up until midnight because they wanted so badly to get these bonuses. And it was really exciting because I was able to watch people in real time interacting with my content and making that choice to join the next step, the paid Attract and Activate program. And it was super satisfying that this idea that I'd come up with kind of on the fly ended up being one of the signature offers in my business. People would say to me months and months after I ran SEOctober, "Oh, I heard about you through that free challenge." It became sort of my thing for a while, which is really cool when that happens. And so I planned ahead again. And going into September 2020, I had an even bigger idea for what I wanted SEOctober to feel like. I knew that I wanted that same vibe of community, of people working through it together, but this time I had a bit more time to plan. By this point, I had grown my team more, so I was able to support more people via email support. I was able to do more live events to give people feedback in the free Facebook group, and I felt really good going into that final week. And because I had those metrics from MemberVault of here are the people who are actually watching these videos, completing the homework, doing the tasks, I spent a lot of time in the last week doing personalized outreach to people who were actively engaged with the content to say, hey, I see you. I know you. You're doing great. Let's talk about what this means for your business. And those people that I did outreach to who were already warm, they converted like gangbusters. There aren't really enough people who do month-long challenges for me to say, well, this is the conversion rate for this particular launch style. As far as I know, it's a sample size of 1. I think I'm the only person I know who would go to these lengths for something free, but it feels generous to me, so I do it anyway. But I would say that the average conversion rate for a launch that is trying to sell a product at the price point that I was working towards is probably somewhere in the 1 to 3% range. In my first year of running SEOctober, I was able to convert about 2% of people who were on my email list. I had about 1,100 people on my email list. I had about 25 people who joined the program. And then the next year, I had actually about the same number of people on my email list and was able to convert about 37. So that's huge. Now, if you're not used to launches like this, you might be like, oh my gosh, you did all that work for only 20 people to join? Yeah, I know it feels like a lot of work, but I also feel like it's in alignment with my values as a business owner to create something that gets buzz and that gets people to understand how it is that I teach and what it would feel like to work with me. So even though it was only 2 or 3% of people who signed up for the challenge who ended up joining the paid program, I know that there were people there that joined the next time I opened the doors, or the next time, or they purchased something else, or they told friends about the challenge. Because the second year I ran it, people were saying, I did it last year, I told my friends about it, they're all here. And that word of mouth is gold. It's beyond something that you can track. The way that people feel about you is amazing. And every year after this closes, I send a survey out to people who participated in the free videos but chose not to join the paid program. And what a lot of them say is the timing didn't work out, or I need to save up, but when I'm ready, I know that I'm coming to you. So there's a lot of generosity and goodwill that goes from me to my audience by creating these videos. And I know that it will come back to me. I can't always predict the timeline of that, but I know that even the first year that I did it, there were people who joined in February, who joined in May when I opened the doors again, and they said, it didn't work in Q4. I was so ready when you opened the doors again. So it's beyond just that 2 or 3%. Sometimes people take a couple years to get around to this, and I'm okay with that. But this year, I decided to do things a little bit differently. You may have noticed already. There were 2 factors at play that went into my decision to open the doors to this and not just have it be available to email subscribers, but to put these videos right here on my YouTube channel. And the first is that I spent the past 9 months putting out weekly videos, seeing an increase week over week in the number of people who are finding me. And I'm an experimenter. I like to try new things. I like to just go, let's see what happens if I do this. And after 9 months of putting out weekly videos, I kind of wanted to see what YouTube would do if I switched to daily. We know that the algorithm loves fresh content, and I wanted to see how it would react to that shift. I also wanted to be able to look and see how people would watch it. You know, I know that when I was doing it in a private community, I would see spikes on Mondays and Fridays of people watching videos because they were either coming in from the weekend and wanted to start fresh, or they waited till Friday to binge them all. But this year I also released videos on weekends, because I guess I just had a lot to say. So I created 30 videos and I released them every day, 30 days in a row, including on the weekends, because I wanted to see if people were more or less likely to watch during the weeks or on the weekends, and how the performance of the ones that were released on the weekends would do compared to the weekdays, because I think it's okay to try new things and not know what the outcome is going to be, but instead to approach it with a spirit of curiosity and say, if I change this, what happens then? Sometimes we find better solutions just by experimenting. So I kind of just went, why the hell not? I've got this YouTube channel. Why not? But I also know that the YouTube algorithm does not like when you remove content. So this year, instead of saying, okay, you have to finish it by November 15th and then it disappears, that could have destroyed my credibility with YouTube if I went, here's 30 free videos and bye, they're gone. Not just the watch time that I accrued there that doesn't mean anything, because my goal with YouTube is not to monetize. My goal is to get clients and to get people to trust me and to teach people. It's about developing relationships with you through this. So the watch time hours didn't really matter to me, but I was afraid that removing those videos could potentially penalize me even among my subscribers, that they might not see my videos. So this year I didn't put a deadline on it. I just went, I'm going to release them. You watch them whenever the hell it works for you. Are you allowed to say hell on YouTube? I think you're allowed to say hell on YouTube. And if you watch one, awesome. And if you watch all 30, great. And if you don't watch them till 2025, they're still gonna be here. And I just really liked the feeling of that. I loved the urgency and the feeling of everyone moving through the content at the same time. But I also didn't love that people had things happening in their lives in October, and if they missed it, they missed it. And that didn't feel good to me as a creator and as somebody who teaches people to create to be found. And then I was taking away this asset that I had for my business. So this year, it's all up there. It's still up there. You can still watch it. You can watch it whenever. But in order to make it more interesting, to get those people who already knew me to maybe take a little step closer, I also offered special treats for people who joined my email list. So if you were on my email list, you signed up for information about SEOctober, I would send daily video reminders to say to people, hey, don't forget to watch that. We also turned the videos into a private podcast feed just for people who were on my email list. So if they're not a YouTube lover, they can still listen to the content in the videos whenever it makes sense for them. I know I personally am not actually that likely to sit down and watch a YouTube video, but if you can strip out the audio and put it in my ears while I'm walking my dog, I will learn from it that way. So I wanted to be as accessible as possible to everyone who wanted this information. The other factor at play in this decision to make all of this public is that I didn't want to do a free Facebook group anymore. I personally don't feel that great about promoting my business on Facebook. I have mixed feelings about Mark Zuckerberg and the marketing system that Facebook is. And I know that a lot of my clients come to me because they don't want to be on Facebook anymore. They don't want to be in those groups. And so it no longer felt like it aligned with the way that I want to run my business. I actually closed down my free Facebook group in May of this year because I thought, I'm just so tired of giving it all away for free. I already had all this free content out there. I'm thrilled to do this for you guys, but also I don't want to spend my time and my energy fielding individual questions for free anymore. I think that you hit a point in your business where that's no longer a good use of your time. And by leveraging your time in order to create content for larger audiences, it can make more sense financially for you. So what I did instead this year is I created a challenge for people who wanted to pay for it. It was only $59 and people were able to get access to the same videos that were out there for free. But we also had weekly coaching calls where I was able to give customized feedback to people in that paid community about what all of this meant for them, to talk them through it, to have it be a dialogue where I could say to Heidi or Sheila or Jean or Tammy, here's what's relevant about this to your business. Here are the things that I would think about if I were you, and giving that personalized feedback, which is so valuable when you're moving through theory. And it was giving them a taste of what it would feel like to work with me long term in a more personalized way. So as long as we were creating all this free content for YouTube, we figured, well, I actually have 4 times as many followers on Instagram as I do on YouTube, so why not publish it there too? After all, Instagram says that they're a video sharing platform now, so why not just take the same videos and put them on both places and see what happens? Because again, why not? Let's experiment. Let's see what the data shows. Let's see what happens. And I was hoping to have steady growth across both of those platforms, but that isn't what happened at all. Before we started promoting in September, I had about 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel and about 2,100 followers on my Instagram. By the end of October, after releasing videos for 30 days, I had 330 new subscribers on my YouTube channel. So that's a 66% increase to go from 500 to 830. On my Instagram profile, I went from 2,100 to 2,155. That's about a 3% increase. So we're talking about a huge differential here of YouTube really wanting to show my video in other things that people are watching, whether those are my videos or other people's videos, having my number of impressions show up, my number of subscribers go up. Whereas on Instagram, my reach actually went down. People weren't engaging with my videos, they weren't watching them, they weren't liking them, and so Instagram stopped showing them to people after a while. Even though I was sharing them to my stories and saying, if you want to see these in your feed, just click the like button. That's all you have to do. And it just wasn't what the algorithm wanted to show people. And there are so many factors at play here. I'm not saying like YouTube good, Instagram bad. But what I am saying is that the goal of these platforms is different. When people come to YouTube, they come to watch videos. They come to learn. They come to have that long form content. And when people go to Instagram, they're much more likely to want to be entertained. And so even a short 5-minute video is maybe too much of an ask for that platform. We did publish a reel at the very beginning of the process to say SEOctober is coming, and that did incredibly well. So I do know that Instagram right now is promoting reels more so than it is IGTV, but I kind of feel like if I'm creating this 5-minute content and people are interested in it, it's not too much to ask to stick there for a couple minutes. So honestly, that information just helped me double down on my decision to be here on YouTube, to be creating content that is meant to be found and meant to be consumed in its entirety, not something that people can scroll past quite as easily. So thank you all here on YouTube for doing your part to help that happen. Thank you all for being here with me, I guess. You know, at the end of all of our videos, we've kind of been trained to say like and subscribe, but it really actually does make a difference in terms of both the way that the algorithm behaves in sharing more with other people and also the way that content creators feel about the time that we're taking to create all of this for you. So here's my shameless plug. Like and subscribe for this video, y'all. If you want more information like this, if you want more behind the scenes content, comment, tell me. I'll create more of it if you like this. This is a relationship. This isn't just a broadcast, right? With that aside, let's keep going. So with all of these changes that I've made, with the decision to break outside of the email and private community box and have things go more public, how did it perform compared to much more of that small, intimate community? Honestly, friends, not as well. I did not convert at as high of a conversion rate into my paid program at the end of this launch cycle as I have in previous years. I think that there are a lot of factors at play in that. The first is that I didn't necessarily have that intimate feedback loop going on with thousands of people at the same time. I was still creating. I probably had a broader reach, but it was shallower. And I think that it can be hard to balance going wide with going deep and trying to go broad and also trying to be high touch. And there comes a point where you have to make that decision about what you're willing to give up in order to be found by more people. And that is a hard decision. I missed the experience of being in the inbox and having these conversations with a larger group of people. But it was also much better for my mental health to not feel like I was on all the time and in demand from people just wanting parts of my brain for free. God, that sounds like a zombie apocalypse, not a launch strategy. Gross. Even though this particular launch didn't bring in as much as previous years, I think it was worth it to try. Because by opening the doors and saying, you can watch this whenever the heck you want to, you don't just have to do this in October and November, it removed that sense of urgency. So I think people weren't as inclined to join as rapidly, but also it gives me a chance to be found by people for this same content for the rest of the year, the next year, the next year. It doesn't create a shelf life on my content the way that I have restricted myself to it in the past. And it would be one thing if it were a 3-day challenge and a 5-day challenge, I could do that in a day. But for a 30-day challenge, I really wanted this to continue to be an asset in my business, to feel like something that if I'm going to spend this much time creating it, I want people to find it and get to know me forever from the time that I spent on that. And I can't yet speak to those people who weren't ready to join in November the way that I have that feedback every year, but maybe they'll join me in February, maybe they'll join me in May, maybe next year they will have put it aside in their brain, in their budget line item, that this is something that they want to do. And I recognize as a business owner that sometimes people just take longer, and I'm willing to wait until they are ready instead of saying, no, you must join now, and putting this false sense of urgency up. One of the reasons I love SEO is that it just keeps working and working and working. So I don't feel urgent about needing to bring people into my programs because I have a steady stream of people finding me all the time. And the fact that I've built both a content library that can do that for me and a reputation through my content that can do that for me is more powerful than saying, well, this time I converted at 4%, right? This isn't something that I only think about what happened in that last week of the month when the cart was open and people were ready to buy. Sure, I loved welcoming those people in. I'm loving getting to know them in my program. They are awesome. But that wasn't the end of this launch for me. This isn't the end of the impact of these 30 days of videos. I have both demonstrated to YouTube that I can create consistent quality content over an extended period of time and that people will continue to engage with it, and also that people are going to continue to find that, and that's all good for me and this algorithm, and the content that I'm creating is really good. Tooting my own horn here. I think it is. But also it's in alignment with my values, that I use SEO to not have to pressure people to feel like they need to buy all the time, but that when they're ready, I'm here. And I want them to feel that in my sales cycles too. I want them to feel like, okay, November wasn't the right time. That's okay. Come whenever it makes sense for you. I'll be here. I'm a business owner with a long-term vision for this company, and one launch is not going to make or break the way that I run things. I'm not going to let my self-worth fall apart because my conversion rate dropped by 1%. It doesn't reflect on me. There are so many factors at play this year, including to an extent that people are just feeling a little burnt out on online learning. That's a trend that's entirely out of my control. And so I have to pivot my messaging to make sure that I'm reaching those people that are feeling that way, and also release the expectation that everyone is going to fall in love with me. For those of you that have, thank you. I appreciate you. For those of you that haven't, that's okay too. I love being able to give you whatever you want to take from this free content library. Now, I intended to go through some of the YouTube metrics and analytics here in more detail, but I'm also running really long on this video. So if you have any follow-up questions, I am happy to make a secondary video to this to talk through anything that you want to know. I'm kind of an open book when it comes to these data and metrics and stuff, because I think not enough people are talking about things like conversion rates across different platforms. It sounds boring, but I also know that I'm spending my time on things that are going to have ROI for my business long term. And if you want to learn how to do that, let me know and I'll create more for you. But I need to hear from you. Another shameless plug. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment. I'm here to not just help educate you on these things, but also to create what you need in order to successfully use SEO for your business. And if that is content about all the little nitty-gritty specifics of tactically how to make this all work, great, tell me, I'll make more of those. And if that's more of these behind the scenes videos of how I'm making this content work for me and my business, great, tell me, I'll make more of those. I'm here to help you and to help you see the benefits of this particular marketing strategy, whether that's tactical or strategic. I'm open. Tell me what you need. I'll be back for you next week with more tips about how to make SEO work for you. Tell me what you want to hear from me and I'll create it for you. I'll see you then.